The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. Jesus came to Capernaum with his followers, and on the Sabbath he entered the synagogue and taught. The people were astonished at his teaching, for he taught them as one having authority, and not as the scribes. In their synagogue was a man with an unclean spirit. He cried out, "What have you to do with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God." Jesus rebuked him and said, "Quiet, come out of him." The unclean spirit convulsed him, and with a loud cry came out of him. All were amazed and asked one another, "What is this?" A new teaching with authority. He commands even the unclean spirits, and they obey him. His fame spread everywhere throughout the whole region of Galilee. The Gospel of the Lord. The Gospel reading this morning focuses on Jesus' authority. And of course, the people at the time recognized in his teaching a genuine authority. Unlike the scribes and the Pharisees, Jesus taught his own teaching, based in the Scriptures in the New Testament, but not just the reinterpretation and the rehashing of someone else's. So they partly meant that. But I think there's another difference in Jesus' authority. There were a lot of miracle workers around this time. There were people trying to develop little cults around themselves, and their goal with their authority, whatever false or limited authority they had, the Pharisees were the same way, was to get followers to kind of slavishly follow them and hang on their every word. But Jesus' authority was different. If we look at Jesus' teaching and his actions, all of Jesus' authority is aimed at not creating slavish kind of groupies. He wants followers, but he doesn't want people. He wants them to have their own authority. Everything Jesus does in his teaching and in his actions is to increase the authority of people over their own lives. It's not to get power for himself. It's not to make them followers who give him their power. Jesus is always about giving people their own power, their legitimate power, power in a good sense, the power to live their lives fully, the power to live their lives authentically, the power to make a difference in other people's lives and in their own lives. So Jesus is teaching and his healing right here in the synagogue. They recognize this. Jesus is about freeing people from whatever oppresses them so that they can have their own authority, that they can be controlling their own lives in a good way and dedicate themselves to the good. And I think this is a very appropriate reading for those of us here at these two schools, at Cristo Rey and at Strake Jesuit. Because isn't that what the mission of the schools are about? To give young men and women, some of you here, an encounter with Jesus. And to have that encounter with Jesus, whatever way God can do that, an encounter with God that gives them, increases their own authority over their own lives, so that you become men and women with real power in the good sense. The power to live your own lives authentically and fully, but also the power to make differences in the lives of others, to be men and women for others, to really use your authority, use the gifts and the education, everything that students and graduates of our schools have, to empower other people as Jesus empowered them. And that really is our mission. And that's the way of Jesus, to use our own authority, never to keep other people down, but to give them, help them exercise their own authority, their own power to live their lives as fully as possible.